Good morning. Looks like it's going to be a nice day today. About half an hour ago, it looked like it was going to be windy, chilly, and a little bit rainy, but it does look like it's going to be a nice day today. Where are we and what are we going to do? I'm right now in the city of David, the southernmost point of ancient Jerusalem. This was the original Jerusalem, and you can see it around us. Essentially, behind me, in front of you, this is the eastern walls of ancient Jerusalem, of 3,000 years ago. And in a moment, I want to take you to the newest site that was just opened up a couple months ago, maybe 6 months ago, the so-called Pilgrim's Trail. I prefer just to give it a more generic name, the generic name of the main road leading from the southern end of Jerusalem up to the Temple Mount, which is, well, we can actually just see, at least I can see it, I don't know if you can, the southern end or the southern wall of the Temple Mount. That's where we're going to end up there, just beyond the buildings in the distance. So anyways, come with me to see this new site, the so-called Pilgrim's Route. Again, what I prefer just to refer to as the main ancient road of Jerusalem of 2,000 years ago. In order to go down, or at least to show you one thing, we have to go up, and then we'll go back down. But we'll just make a quick detour here. Okay, what do we have here? You can see in front of me, in front of you too at the moment, two caves, and according to some people, this is the true tomb of King David. Years ago, I did another video, you can look for it if you want, where I showed you the present day tomb of David up on Mount Zion. I don't know, a kilometer in that direction, more or less, which is not, I can safely say, is not the tomb of David. But many people will tell you that this behind me now, this is the true tomb of David. It does say in the Bible that David is buried in the city of David, and we are in the city of David, but this is not a hard and fast. It's very problematic to state explicitly, so this is the tomb of David. I haven't yet come to a final decision, but maybe this fits more in with the story of David. I should remind you that we do have proof of the existence of somebody called David around 3,000 years ago. Was he this great, fantastic king that the Bible says he was, or was he just some local chieftain up here in the hills of Jerusalem? I don't know. Nobody really knows. There are arguments, debates here and there, just like whether or not this is the tomb of David. But probably this maybe has a more likely chance of being the original tomb of David. Anyways, let's head back down to where I originally wanted to take you. Okay, this is without a doubt the most problematic part of this whole trip, this descent down. Whew. Have to take it slowly. Boker Tov. We've arrived at our next to last destination. Before we get to the main event of the day, I just want to stop here at what is referred to as the Siloam Pool. Another quite amazing discovery. In order to get down to the edge of it, we have to walk down these rather steep and, let's admit it, uncomfortable steps. More about that later. We'll be able to see them a little bit better from down below. Okay, we can now see the pool down below it. We've only excavated about half of it. The distance from here to what we believe to be the southern end of it is about 50 meters. And from east to west, you can still see that they're still excavating over there, is also about 50 meters. We have a little bit of a problem. There are people who will tell you that this is a mikvah, a ritual bath. It's a little bit problematic. Why? Well, first of all, as I mentioned a moment ago, we've got these very uncomfortable steps coming down. In order to come down them comfortably, you need to have quite long legs. These are not comfortable steps. Whoever devised them didn't know what they were doing. More than likely, instead of them being steps, they were actually seats, which points to the possibility, and again, I emphasize we're not 100% sure if this actually was a mikveh, that this is more of a ceremonial site where people would have come a couple of times a year and seen ceremonies with water, probably the most famous being when they had to burn the red heifer for purity reasons. They would come here to this pool, we think, take water from this pool in a ceremony, and then take it up to the temple way up there in order to burn the red heifer and make for the purity ritual of the priests. Anyways, we're going to go up again in order to go up to the pilgrimage route.
Maybe it was, maybe it wasn't.
Hey, this is the future me speaking. I just had a few words with that other guide who was here talking, also making a YouTube video. Nothing, just a collegiate discussion. And I think it's very important to emphasize that we can't really say with 100% that this is a mikveh. And for two reasons. One, because of these very problematic steps, which again, we'll go up them in a moment to see how difficult they are. But also, if you look over the edge, be careful, I won't drop you. You can see that the wall going down from my feet goes down straight at a 90-degree angle. And we have not found the base of this pool. That is a very, very steep swimming pool, hygienic pool, purity pool. People would be drowning here. Okay, so again, this is more proof that maybe this was not actually a mikveh, a purity bath, but this was a storage pool for water that would have been used in ceremonial ceremonies. Ceremonial ceremonies, is that a term? Yes, I guess it is now. Okay, anyways, let's go back up to the main event of the day, up these very problematic steps. And down again. Up, down, up, down. Jerusalem is not for the faint of heart. It gets you in shape. That's what's good about it. This is, for lack of a better way of explaining it, this is the Christian pool of Siloam. This is where Christianity believes that Jesus performed a miracle of healing the blind. I can safely say that this pool is from the Byzantine period, several hundred years after the story of Jesus. What I showed you earlier, where I was insistent that we shouldn't say that it was actually a mikveh, that is the pool of Siloam from the Second Temple period, from the time of Jesus. That is where Jesus would have performed the miracle. Okay, anyway, finally, on to the main event. Down at my feet, quite interesting, quite beautiful. You can see a 2,000-year-old drainage hole. Very nice, very beautiful. They knew how to build things 2,000 years ago. Anyway, we've now come to a fork in the road. We can either go to the left this way or go to the right that way. Who was it said? I think it was Yogi Berra. When you come to a fork in the road, take it. we're going to go to the right. But the truth of the matter is we could go either way and they would both meet up. But we're going to go to the right along the so-called pilgrimage road. Let's go. Here to my right, we have the remnants of stores. People would start their climb up to Jerusalem along this road, or maybe the other one. But again, as I said a moment ago, they would meet a couple hundred meters up at the top. And before they would go up, they would stop here to buy souvenirs, food, who knows what else. Very possibly, they would stop here to buy goats for sacrifice. And they would want to buy it here, because the farther up the road they got, the closer to the temple they got, the price of these sacrifice, the price of these goats would get more and more expensive. Nothing's changed. Anyways, let's go. Important for me to say that while we're inside right now in a tunnel, 2,000 years ago we would have been exposed to the elements, exposed to the sky above. Okay, there are today buildings up above us, but again, 2,000 years ago we would have been exposed to the sun, the rain, the sky, depending on the season. Ooh. Ooh. Traffic jam.
Do we want to let this guy around us? Sure. Let's let him around us.
Okay, thank you very much.
Go ahead, man.
Where are you guys from?
Buffalo, New York.
Buffalo, New York. Okay, East Coast. Having a good time?
Yeah.
Great.
Good for you.
I hope you've been told that this is one of the most important discoveries ever made.
How's those knees?
Just take it slowly. Boker tov, מה שלומך? We've arrived at the other end of that fork in the road that I told you about before. That's why we couldn't actually go up that other side, but this is a continuation of it. Who knows? Maybe one day they will open it up the full length and you could get up. I mean, you can go up it, but it's a little bit dark and musty. Okay, so this is the end of the fork in the road, or maybe the beginning, depending on which way you're going. Let's continue on up this road. These slabs of stone that we are now walking on, these are the original slabs from 2,000 years ago. For almost 2,000 years, nobody walked on these. So are we the first? Well, we're not the first, but we're the first of a few thousand people to have walked up these stones in the last 2,000 years. Right here, you can see, a little bit difficult to see because of the darkness, you can see there's actually a building. Quite amazing, okay? This is a building also from a later period, from what I understand, from the Byzantine period, and it goes well in that direction. They've only excavated the entrance to it, okay? You can see here's the entrance to it. Ooh, a little bit dark. And at the entrance to it, you can see, again, quite wonderful, another drain cover for water. They knew what they were doing 2,000 years ago when they built this. Okay, let's continue on. We've now got to a section where they've excavated the full width of this road. Quite impressive. Quite impressive for a road of 2,000 years ago. Over here on the western side, this is the western edge of the road. As I pointed out a moment ago, they have discovered here and there the curb of this road, And over here on the other side of these modern pillars is the eastern edge of the road. And in some places, how do they know this? Because they have found over here on this side also the curbstones of the eastern side, the right-hand side from our direction, the eastern side of the road itself too. Anyway, let's continue on. Missed that hole. And here we've also found something else quite interesting. If you look here over to my right, first of all, again, we have another drainage hole. Down below us, we have the sewer system, which we can also walk up. I think I actually have a video of me walking up the sewer system. Maybe I'll have to do another one. But what we find beyond it is we have the remnants of a podium. You can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 stones climbing up. And the truth of the matter is that you'll hear all sorts of theories. From this was the point where somebody would stand here and preach. I don't know, this was Preacher's Corner, where you could stand and tell people the truth of the world, which is, I guess, what I'm doing right now, also using it as a preaching point. But that's just a supposition. We don't really know what the purpose of this podium was. But it's something very interesting all the same. Let's continue on. We have here something else that's quite interesting. This metal rack and these plastic buckets. What's going on here? I have to emphasize that when they were excavating this route, this place was literally filled from ground level, where I'm standing, up to the roof with dirt and rubble and stuff like that. And again, I emphasize that up above us, there are people, there are houses. And so they couldn't tear the houses down. So they actually had to dig a tunnel. It's quite interesting. You can look on YouTube, find a lot of videos of people doing what's called hobby tunneling. This was not hobby tunneling. This was professional tunneling with engineers. But as I said a moment ago, all of this rubble here was filled with archaeological remains. So they couldn't just come in here with a bulldozer and take it out and dump it, which in itself is another problem. What do you do with all the fill, with all the spoil? So every bucket of dirt, I mean, you can see the buckets are filled with archaeological findings. Every bucket of dirt had to be filled up with dirt, and then it was transported along this conveyor belt until it reached the end, and somebody would lift it up, and then they would dump the dirt out, and they would go through it and look for all of the archaeological remains. And usually what they find are bits and pieces of pottery. And this looks rather innocent. I'm by far have no knowledge of pottery, but they're experts, and they can look at this pottery and tell you from what time period it is. And this is one of the pieces of proof we have, the finding of this pottery. It tells us that this road is 2,000 years old. Anyway, let's go on to the end of the tour. We'll do this next bit quickly. Again, you'll notice that we've just been coming through the remnants of buildings. As far as I know, these buildings are also date to the Byzantine period, a few hundred years after the Second Temple period. I will not lie to you. That's my policy in life. The truth of the matter is that the last 100 meters is not the pilgrimage road. This is just a tunnel that was dug out to facilitate an exit for visitors such as ourselves. The theory today is that from that last point where that young lady was sitting at the desk, the road would have veered off to the east and gone off in that direction. They have yet to find it. They did not find the continuation of the road at this point. So they think that the continuation of the road is farther to the east. It would have led directly to the main entrance to the temple. Farther to the east, a couple of 100 meters in that direction. We've arrived at the end. Two final things to see. Here on my left and on my right, on my left and my right, we have the remnants of two buildings from the Muslim period. Abbasid, Ayyubi, I can never remember which is which. But again, so these buildings that we just passed through this short little passage are from the Muslim period. And in my view, much more impressive, we have up above us, you're going to have to strain your neck. Up above there, over there, we have the remnants of Robinson's Arch. Robinson was a British explorer who came here in the 1850s. Edward Robinson, he came here under the auspices of the British government, and he was able to stand next to those stones that are sticking out of the wall. This is the western wall of the Temple Mount. Ground level at the time was just below it, so he was able to stand there. There's a famous photograph, I'll see if I can put it up, of him standing there. And he actually understood that it was the remnants of an arch, thus it's called Robinson's Arch. And he thought that it was the start of a large bridge that went all the way in that direction over there. It's only in later years, when modern archaeology was done in the modern period, that the archaeologists came to the conclusion that this was the remnants of a giant staircase. You would walk up this giant staircase and there was an entrance just above the remnants of the stones entering the Temple Mount. So Robinson's Arch. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this tour. Please like and subscribe. And if you're interested in coming and seeing this by yourself with your own feet and any other parts of Jerusalem or Israel, you know where you can come. Anyways, thank you again.